Hi everyone, you are in the game, and today we have David Weiss again in this video for talking about baseball. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Alan?
I'm doing great.
So I have a question for you, Alan. Do you know the rules of baseball?
I mean, yeah, I know the main rules from baseball, of course.
Okay, but think about it well. Do you really know all of the rules of baseball?
Yeah, what do you mean?
So you see, baseball is actually a bit of a crazy game. There are the rules that you actually know, and the rules you can look up in the rule book. In fact, I even did an umpire course. Okay. I'm a certified Little League umpire. And those are the
Okay.
rules that umpires have to know. But then there's sort of this honor code, unwritten rules of baseball. Baseball is kind of like Judaism. In Judaism, we have the written law and we have the oral law. So it's the same idea in baseball. You have the written law from the umpire's rule book that you have to know if you're an umpire. And then there are these unwritten rules that are kind of just known between the players of things you don't do for whatever reason. Okay? So why am I bringing this all up? Did you hear about the play involving Fernando Tatis Jr.?
So I heard something about it, but I would like to hear your opinion on that.
Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, in the last episode we mentioned Fernando Tatis Jr. is a bright young star in the Astros' future. Okay, he's a great player, he's having a great year. And there was a game a week ago in Texas in which something that the average person watching baseball would not understand, but there's a lot of stuff that involve the unwritten rules of baseball. So what happened was the Padres were just winning big early in this game. I think they scored 5 runs in the first inning. They kept adding more runs. The Texas Rangers obviously weren't scoring enough. So by the eighth inning, the Padres were up 10-3. Okay, game's pretty much over. Padres are winning big. The Texas Rangers have this pitcher, Juan Nicasio, who comes into pitch, and the guy's just struggling. So sure enough, the bases are loaded with Fernando Tatis Jr. coming up. And I think two of the runners even got on by walk because the pitcher just did not have control of his pitches. So the at bat starts against Tatis, 3 balls in a row. Again, he just doesn't have the strike zone, can't find it. And on the 3-0 pitch, Fernando Tatis smacks a home run over the right field wall, lands several rows back. It was a nice shot, not a monster shot, but a solid home run. And now the Padres are up 14-3. Okay. Now, this went against a bunch of unwritten rules of baseball. And then what happened was the retaliation was another unwritten rule. The Rangers took out Nicasio. They brought in a relief pitcher. And what he did to the next batter, which was Manny Machado, he threw a ball behind him. Okay. So what's going on here? In baseball, there's this concept of you don't want to show up the other team. You don't want to just run up the score. In this case, under all likely circumstances, the Padres are winning and they're winning big. Okay. The odds of the Rangers coming back are extremely, extremely small. So the unwritten rules say don't run up the score. Okay. And why was the next batter? Why did the next relief pitcher throw behind Machado? It's to send a message saying, hey, you do that again, I'm going to hit you. And it's going to hurt. You guys want to embarrass us? I'll hurt you. Okay, unwritten rules of baseball. This is what happens. He didn't actually hit him, but he sent him a message saying, I know what you guys did, and it could hurt. So this began a whole social media storm because what happened was um, Tatis sort of like apologized, and the Padres realized he probably broke some unwritten rules. But a lot of people on social media are saying, "What are you talking about? What's he supposed to do? Just like strike out? He's supposed to give up in at bat?" And a lot of people throughout the baseball world started talking about all of these unwritten rules. Are they good or are they bad? So what do you think he should have done? Do you think that Tatis should have swung away? Do you think he should have taken the pitch? What do you think he should do?
I think that he did the right thing to do. He's a baseball player. He's playing the game, and the game is not over until the last out in the ninth inning. So, like, it seems ridiculous that if someone is 3-0, he shouldn't swing the ball because while you're winning with a high amount of runs, like it doesn't make sense at all.
Right.
And I don't think he should have apologized as well.
Right. So the approach you take is what I like to call the new age approach. The traditionalists will say, no, you don't show up the other team. We have unwritten rules. You play by this honor code. And then the new age fans say, no, what do you mean? Anything can happen. Why are we giving up at bats? We always tell the players, don't give up at bats, never quit. So the other team's not quitting. I don't see anyone saying that the Texas Rangers are just gonna, give up in their half of the inning and just end the game. So what's the deal? That's basically sort of the debate that was going on. And the truth is, actually take your side, generally speaking. One of the reasons why is you just have to fast forward 3 days and you'll see the exact same thing happen to the Phillies. Okay, so what happened? The Phillies are playing a game against the Blue Jays. It's actually not in Toronto, it was in Buffalo because of coronavirus. They're not playing in Toronto. So they're playing in Buffalo, but the Blue Jays are the home team. The Phillies put up a 7 spot in the first inning, right? So same 7-run lead that the Padres have, the Phillies have. It's earlier in the game, but it's still a 7-run lead. Toronto scores 2 in the bottom of the first, but then, they're a little bit closer, but it's still a pretty big lead. And the score holds until the bottom of the sixth when the Blue Jays score, lo and behold, 7 runs. Okay? So in the interim, the Phillies didn't score. Maybe they were playing by this honor code of not embarrassing the other team. But what ends up happening? They end up losing the game. So we see if Tatis is being criticized for swinging on a 3-0 pitch when you're up 7 runs, well, let's not forget what happened to the Phillies. They also had a 7-run lead and they lost the game. So even if you do believe in this idea of the unwritten rule of not showing up the other team with a big lead, I don't even know if 7 runs is necessarily a big lead. Like I can understand 15 runs maybe, but 7 runs, it's rare to come back, but it does happen. And if it happens to you, you feel bad. It happened to my Mets last year where they were winning by 6 runs going into the bottom of the ninth in Washington, and they blew it. Kurt Suzuki hit this walk-off home run. It was this like gut-wrenching moment for Mets fans, but it happens. Teams blow big leads. So with this in mind, there was an article that was posted on MLB's website, which is interesting because it was the official website of Major League Baseball, not some random blog. And the article basically acknowledges the unwritten rules of baseball. So I think that's interesting that MLB is willing to publish something saying, yeah, we kind of have these unwritten rules and we know it. So I thought that was interesting. So what I want to do is go through the article, not every single point, because some of them I don't think are even rules. I don't know why they were included. And just see what's your take on them. Is this a good rule or not? So the first one mentioned is swinging 3-0 when you have a big lead. Do you think it's good, bad? I mean, the player should be allowed to swing or she should just take the strike? What's your feeling?
So I stand my point, and I think it's a ridiculous unwritten rule.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that. I think it's a stupid rule. Don't swing 3-0. I don't know. Maybe the pitcher shouldn't throw 3 balls in a row and then be shocked that when he throws one down the middle, a guy's going to swing. So I think we're in an agreement on that one. Another one, which is somewhat similar, is if you have a big lead, the rule is don't steal a base when you have a big lead. So do you agree with that? Or do you think that, again, it's sort of like let players play?
I also don't agree on that.
Right. So my feeling is also similar. I would say I kind of get the idea of not stealing a base in that it's sort of like a minor tactical advantage. It's not a huge thing. I see the argument. You're just padding your stats. But yeah, again, as long as you're playing, let the players play. You have no idea what's going to happen. So I agree with this. As an Indians fan, you would actually be very happy to know that I think it's the biggest comeback in baseball history actually happened with the Cleveland Indians. Are you familiar with this game?
I actually don't recall it. Please remind me.
So it wasn't recent. It was in 2001. The Indians are hosting the Mariners, who, by the way, the Mariners had the most wins, I think, either in the history of baseball or at least in recent memory. They had 116 wins. So they were a great team that season. They have a 14-2 lead, so 12-run lead late in the game. And starting in the seventh, the Indians start chipping away at it. So by the bottom of the ninth, they actually tied the game. And in extra innings, the Indians won. Okay. So anyone who thinks, oh, yes, 12 runs, who could possibly come back? It's very rare, but it does happen. So as an Indians fan, you can be proud that your team has, probably the greatest comeback in baseball history. And it sort of backs your point that why are we playing by this honor code that essentially doesn't make sense? Um, okay, so here's another one. A pitcher has just given up back-to-back home runs. Okay, you're now the third batter. The unwritten rule says don't swing at the first pitch. What do you think?
I mean, it doesn't seem relevant. Like what does it mean? Because the pitcher is throwing bad, then the first pitch he's gonna like throw a strike, and the batter will take advantage to hit like another home run.
Yeah, it's basically saying, clearly the pitcher's struggling if he gave up back-to-back home runs. Don't make it back-to-back-to-back. Like at some point, just, don't embarrass the guy. I think that's the logic of the rule.
So yeah, like so far, there's no rule that I can actually agree because it's kind of like
Yeah.
preventing the game to happen. Like I don't
Right. So
think there
this one
should
I
be
agree
like
with
an
you on.
honor thing here. It's just like you're playing the game, and until you finish the last out of the inning, like keep playing, like do your best because also it's part of your stats for the league.
Right. So I agree on that. My feeling is also when I read this, I said it's really unclear what the situation is. For example, let's say you were down 4-1. There's back-to-back home runs. Are you now not allowed to like swing at that pitch and help your team tie the game? Like I understand if it's a massive lead and maybe, but I didn't even understand this one. I was looking at it and just said, huh? Like, why is that a thing? So I think we're in agreement on this one. Next one, don't show up your fielders. So this was referring to, let's say you're a pitcher, and one of your fielders just makes a really bad error in the field. Okay, don't show them up, and don't go like, oh no, don't like punch your glove or show that you're really upset. Okay, what do you think about this? This one's obviously different than the first three.
So I mean, this is something that I could understand because you try not like demotivate your teammate, I guess. But it seems a bit irrelevant. Like I think will be part of the game. Like whenever that happens, if it's like it will be something relevant that somebody scored because of that error or whatever.
Right.
So could go either way.
So with me, I feel like baseball has this weird tradition of it's a fun game, but don't show emotion. Okay, like if you hit a home run, you put your head down and just slowly trot around the bases, but not too slow because that's also showing up the pitcher. And you only give high fives once you finish clearing. Once you finish rounding the bases, I mean, you can high five the coaches, but that's it. You don't pump your fist and celebrate in the middle. This is somewhat similar. You don't show emotion when something really bad happens. I get the idea you don't want to embarrass your player, and I agree with that. But I don't know. I don't see it as such a bad thing if players show that they're upset on the field or happy on the field. I don't think it's such a bad thing. And I guess we could disagree with this. I think you say don't do it because don't like embarrass your players, and I'll say you know what, show your emotion on the field.
All right.
So yeah.
So what's next?
So the next one, okay, this is an interesting one. A pitcher who was relieved mid-inning must stay in the dugout until the end of the inning. So typically what this is, you've got pitchers pitching, he's kind of struggling, he gave up some base runners, the manager doesn't want him to blow the game, so they take him out and bring someone else in. It doesn't have to be a relief pitcher, it could be a starting pitcher, but either way, if you're taken out of the game, you stay in till the end of that half inning. You don't go into the clubhouse, you stay in the dugout. What do you feel about that?
Uh, I don't really agree on that one. Like
So you're saying he should be allowed
if
to
you're not
finish?
throwing
Yeah.
well, like you should like they should take you out.
No, we agree they should take you out, but should you have to stay in the dugout? That's the question. Or should you be, say, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm going to the clubhouse. I'll take a shower.
So perhaps yes, he should stay because I mean, the for the sportivity, like
Right. So I would actually agree. I think a pitcher should definitely stay in the dugout. You have to be there to support your team, especially if you create the mess. Don't like run away, like own it, so to speak. If anything, I would just add on to this rule. I never like the idea of a player who's taken out of the game going, out of the dugout, going to the clubhouse, taking a shower, and just like getting ready to go home. I never like that idea. It happens where you have, let's say, a guy who even comes up to pinch hit, doesn't get his hit, goes into the clubhouse, and is basically done for the game. I never like that. My feeling is, you're a part of the team. Stay with the team. That's my
Be
feeling.
professional.
Exactly, exactly. You're there. You're taken out of the game, but support your teammates in any way you can. Here's another one, and this sort of strikes me a little bit as sort of superstition, but it says don't step on the pitcher's mound. So I think what it's referring to is, let's say you have a batter who like hits a fly ball. It's caught. It's a regular fly out. When you round the bases going back to your dugout, you don't step over the pitcher's mound, meaning that's like the pitcher's territory. So what do you feel about that?
It seems a bit stupid, to be honest.
Yeah, I see it as kind of like dumb. I don't know why it's such a big deal. No, pitchers can get very upset. There's been some cases of pitchers who like screamed at batters over it. I also get the idea like, okay, it's the pitcher's area. Like, there's no reason for you to step on it. It doesn't change the game. So I see it, the way I see it, it's kind of dumb, but like either way, it's done for the pitchers to care and it's done for the batters to step on the pitcher's mound. So yeah, that's a weird unwritten rule. Another one sort of similar, don't walk in front of the catcher. So I guess it's the situation is you're walking to the plate, you're getting to the batter's box, and instead of walking behind the catcher, you walk in front of the catcher. I honestly, I'm a little bit lost with this one. I didn't even know this was a rule.
I don't know. I didn't even haven't seen like anyone to do this kind of thing like in baseball. So I
Yeah,
don't
this
know.
is
It
a
seems
weird
also
one.
like a
So
dumb unwritten rule.
yeah, this is a weird one. I'll be honest with this article. If I had to guess like one kind of stupid one, I would put this one in because I'm not. I was not. I like know most of these rules. This is the one I'm saying. I didn't even realize this was like a thing. So, all right, next one. There's a no hitter. Don't bunt to end the no hitter. What do you feel about that?
Wow. I honestly don't know about that one.
My feeling is, first of all, you have to break it up into two types of no hitters. Is it a 10-0 game or is it like a 2-0 game, right? Because if it's a 10-0 game, I kind of get it that like you're on the verge of making history. Don't break it up with this little like, oh, I pushed the ball and got this very nice little hit. I get it, but on the other hand, like this is the game. It's similar to swinging 3-0. Let the guys play, okay? Also, I think it's unfair to the pitcher because what you're doing is you're saying, okay, the fielders can play back. They don't have to worry about the bunt because it's so bad if you, the batter, bunt. You know what I mean? It really does impact how you position yourself if you're saying, well, the third baseman never has to come in because why worry about the bunt? We all know he's not allowed to bunt. That's my thing. Also, if it's a close game, I mean, you got to do what you got to do to win. If it's getting a runner on base, and that's the best way, then go for it. That's the best way to get a runner on base.
Yeah, you're right.
Last one. Oh, this is a good one. Don't yell anything when an opposing fielder is trying to make a catch. What do you think?
I mean, I think that yeah, this is a good one actually. Like for the sport, I mean, no, it's not fair like someone to yell to try to avoid for him to catch the ball. Like, yeah, I understand.
So for this one, I'm going to put my umpire's hat back on. Okay. I actually think whoever wrote this doesn't actually understand the real rules of baseball. As an umpire, I'm calling base runners interference. Okay. It actually happened in the game I think it was about 13 years ago. The Yankees were playing in Toronto. And Alex Rodriguez is on the base path. He's on second base. Someone hits a pop up towards shortstop. The fielder gets under the ball, and it appears that A-Rod yelled something like or I got it, something like that at the guy. And so he thought that one of the other players was going to get it. Maybe it was a third baseman, maybe the shortstop was going to. I don't remember the exact positioning, but the idea was someone was camped under the ball, and he stepped back because he thought someone was calling him off. And it turns out it was just A-Rod yelling something at him. Now, in the actual rule book, there isn't anything that specifically says you may not yell at a batter, you may not yell, I'm sorry, at a fielder, you may not yell, I got it. However, there's a sort of general rule of base runners interference. If you're doing something that will hinder the play or prevent a fielder from doing it, especially if the umpire feels this was done on purpose. That's really bad. Like you can have, all sorts of things which were done by accident, but this to me sounds like it was done on purpose, and that's a dirty move. So if I'm the umpire, I don't even say this is an unwritten rule. I'm calling base runners interference on the play.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense.
Yeah, because yes, there's the honor code, but this is just like don't play a dirty game. Like that's like a dirty, bush league type move to try to do to like, oh, haha, we now got an extra base runner because of that. So, of all the unwritten rules, this one I think should actually be considered a written rule. Okay, if the baseball doesn't want to specify it, I think the umpires have the leeway and they can call the I guess it would be base runners interference. So depending on the situation, I'm not sure if the batter would be out, but at least the base runner would be. It depends on the scenario. But if you're trying to mess with the fielders, that's not okay.
Yeah.
So that's it. So those are the different unwritten rules that I wanted to discuss. So what's your feeling in general of these unwritten rules?
I think in general, I think we can both agree that like it's kind of like destroying the game. It's like it's not. I understand the ethic and all that, and like if we go back to the first one that we started on the video about like not hitting with 3-0. Listen, like it's part of the game. You need to leave it as to the top, and so in general, I think these unwritten rules are a bit ridiculous, and they shouldn't exist.
Yeah, my feeling is similar. I think if it's something that's kind of just like superstition, like don't step on the pitcher's mound, I don't really care either way. Whatever it is, it is. But if it's something that really impacts the game, it should not be an unwritten rule. I also think a lot of these benefit the pitcher, which is interesting because I don't know of any of these unwritten rules that help the batter out. Um, but yeah, my feeling is also avoid these unwritten rules. I don't think it helps the sport. And I think when your team loses because you followed an unwritten rule, you feel really bad. You feel like, what the heck? We got cheated because we were playing honorably and then we end up losing the game. Like, what's the point?
Exactly.
All right.
All
So
right,
that's it.
David. So thank you very much. So for being again in the game, it's been a pleasure to talk about baseball with you, and I hope to see you soon in the next video.
All right. Take care, Alan.
For
Bye.
all you guys, if you like the video, please like it, click the like, subscribe to the channel, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.